When you write a book, the book doesn't just jump off the shelves. There's certain things you have to do in order to get the book in people's hands. And in today's episode, we're going to be sharing with you tips to get the book out there. Here we go. All right, we want to welcome you today to the Church Tips Podcast. And we are so excited to have you joining us. And we're going to be talking about tips that you can apply in order to get the book that you want to write into people's hands. Because as we've been talking about this week, if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, you want to be sure to go back and do that. But what we've been talking about is we've got these book ideas. We want to get it out there. God's maybe given us a message that we want to share. And so now we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we actually get that out there? And it's one thing to print a book like we talked about in episode 107, but how do you actually get it in people's hands? Because as you mentioned before, the books don't just jump off the shelves.
Exactly.
There's strategic things we have to do in order to get the books sold. And so we're going to be talking about that today.
We are going to talk about that. And I really would encourage you to go back and look at episodes 104, 5, 6, and 7. Jonathan referenced 107. But all of those really help you in the journey of getting that book out of you onto paper, onto your keyboard. And then how do you pay for it? All the pieces involved there.
Yep.
But really, this is going to be a great episode for you to think in terms of marketing the book.
Yep.
So you're going to tell us a little bit about the book itself?
I just wanted to mention again, this is in conjunction with my book that we just released this week on Tuesday. The book released, Errol Stryker, Live with Purpose and Leave an Eternal Impact Every Single Day. And really excited about the book. It's been tremendous hearing people's feedback on it. And certainly if you have not had a chance to purchase the book yet, I would encourage you to do so. This is a great book, not just for you personally, but for the people in your sphere of influence. So it's written toward Christians in general and is going to be very helpful. In fact, I've already had numerous different groupings of people not connected to each other telling me about how they're actually going to do a little small group study based on the book. So I'm excited about that because I think it's really going to motivate people. It is motivating people to step into all God has for them and in their life.
And you've got a 6-part video series coming here shortly. That will be released, so you can stay tuned, watch for that. And you can get the book in ebook, audiobook, or paperback. So, and when you do, don't forget to jump in, put your name into the Ozark Mountain Giveaway that we are doing for the lucky winner. We're going to do a drawing for that, and it's going to be a wonderful trip to Southwest Missouri, to Branson, and all that Branson has to offer, Silver Dollar City, and shows, coffee with Jonathan and Ashley, a great dinner. You're just going to have a wonderful time here. So fill out the form. After you purchase the book, there's a little spot for you to put your receipt in to validate the purchase, and you're going to be offered.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that happens at arrowstriker.com/giveaway. So arrowstriker.com/giveaway. That's where you go to enter the details after you've purchased the book, and be happy to get you in the drawing, and maybe you'll be the winner. That'd be awesome.
So here's the drill on this particular episode. We're going to talk about you marketing the book. You are the number one marketer of the book. Even if you use a traditional publisher, it's a fallacy to think that they're going to be the number one marketer. They're not. You are. Now, if you have an aggressive, Jonathan and I are a perfect example of this. I have what would be called an aggressive big mouth personality. So I don't have a problem promoting myself. I don't have a problem. I've written 2 books. I don't have a problem, spouting off about my books. Jonathan's personality is more reserved, more level. And so I'd like to have him, because he's the new author of this book, talk about the journey. You aggressive people, you're not having trouble with this. But the more reserved people, talk to them about how do you actually market and begin to self-promote, which is not part of your nature.
Sure, that's something we should dive into quickly here before we talk about some of the other things. I think you just have to, for me, I've had to come to grips with the reality that the book, as great as it is going to stay on the shelf if I'm not out there helping to get it out there. So I'm the number one promoter more than anyone else. And I can have a lot of other people who like the book, who've read the book, and their word, their message, their sharing on social media, all that stuff is great. And you need that. But even still, I'm the one who's having to help coordinate all that. I'm the one who's And so you have to get to that point where if you truly believe you have a message from God, then it doesn't matter what your disposition is. And that's just what I've had to come to reality with. It doesn't matter what your disposition is. You have to get the word out. And because if God's giving you a message, then you want to do all you can to get this message out to as many people as you can.
And that's exactly what the Lord did in speaking to his heart in this book. There's a message here about striking your arrows. And so we're going to talk about it. And he's talking about it. So you absolutely have to do this. You've got to sell. You've got to be the number one salesperson, even if you have a traditional publisher.
Yeah. In fact, I'll mention that we kind of talked about in the last episode about the traditional publishing route, where a publisher is the one that picks the book up. And if you haven't listened to that episode, be sure to hop back over to episode 107. But in that, we talk about how despite them publishing it and doing all the legwork, when it comes down to it, they'll give you a little promotional push at the beginning, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And then you as the author are really the one responsible for getting the word out. And so you have to make sure to just do all you can to keeping that message before people.
So, Jonathan, what'd you do when you wanted to begin to get friends and family involved? How did you go through that process?
Well, I started just talking to people. I mean, and you obviously helped me in talking to people, and we just started building kind of a team of people that we were, friends, family, people we knew close. That we were text messaging people, we were messaging them on Facebook, and just straight up asking them, "Hey, would you be willing to share a couple of social media posts? Would you be willing to write a review of the book?"
Yeah.
And and we would coordinate all that ahead of time, so that way we could come out of the gate strong in the moment.
Well, and I'll tell you, I was with a group of about a dozen discipleship people at church yesterday, and at the time of this recording, and two of the people were just talking about the book. Two of the people said, "Well, I'll do that." Yeah. I would never have thought of them to do it. So you'll be amazed. The more you start talking about, "Well, I'll do that. I'll help you." Yeah. People want you to be, particularly, you're only a first-time author once.
Yeah.
And people want to help first-time authors. I don't know how many people have, that we've talked to a boatload of people. Yeah. Have we had 2 or 3 maybe say they wouldn't? And it was only because they're in the middle of writing a dissertation. Nobody said
a lot going on.
No, I don't like that idea. I'm not going to do it. Nobody said that.
Right. Yeah. And so if you are a first-time author, there's only one chance you have to ask for favors as a first-time
author,
and ask for the favors. Yep. This is your one chance.
Yep, exactly.
So
one of the things I recommend, and Jonathan would concur with this, is if you're a pastor, you have some natural network of people. Now, hopefully it's large. Might not be, but if you're part of a denomination, maybe you're part of a district, you're part of a region, you're part of a grouping of pastors, you want to be able to tap into those friendships to sell the book. Now, again, if you're a more reserved person, you say, "Well, I don't want to be asking for favors." You have to ask for favors. You have to ask for favors. Now, if you're on the front end and you haven't written your book yet, and if you really have not cultivated the relationships in those networks, you need to start doing that now. Well, that seems disingenuous. Listen, you've got to build friendships and have friendships built on more than just your book, but you've got to be doing this ahead of time. Mm-hmm. You've got some time now. Yeah. Invest in those friendships, and that will help you. And Facebook, Jonathan?
Well, just like in terms of groups.
Yeah.
Facebook groups. If you're part of pastor groups, if you are connected with different just segments of people in the pastor world, those are great ways to help just leverage that. Yeah. Because hopefully everyone wants the kingdom to win.
Right.
And so if there's ways we can help with our friendship groups and pastor groups that you're a part of, then do that. Now, I will say that it's helpful when other people are also involved in the promotion of that for you. So it's not just you trying to hustle it all on your own.
Right.
And I think if you can leverage others who are willing to be a part of this group, saying to validate you or the book or whatever, then that's always helpful.
I can tell you one of the major things, John, at the time of this recording, Jonathan has a recording he's doing in about 15 minutes. And one of the things he's going to be talking about is this byline. Live with purpose and leave an eternal impact every single day. That message is important. The Lord put that in his heart. And if the Lord puts something in your heart, it's important for you to spread the word.
Yep.
It's important for you to ask your friends and family to help you spread the word. You're not just writing a book just to write a book.
Yeah.
You've got something that is of value that the Lord's put in your heart, and you've got to capitalize on your networks to get that word out.
Well, and I want to comment on that. Someone the other day said that they felt like they were supposed to write a book, and they made this comment, which I had made before. And it was, well, I'm just going to be obedient because I feel like the Lord told me to do it. And even if one person reads it and it helps them, then I feel like I've done my job. And I used to think that until I had a change of mindset to say, no, if God's given me a message, then I want to get it to as many people as I can, because this is a message that I feel like the Lord has placed in my heart. And so I've got to blitz this thing to get this out there.
Exactly.
So
certainly there are speaking opportunities that come along with the book, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have a speaking engagement, or if you get invited to go to another church or another organizational event or whatever it might be, that's a great place to be able to get your books out, and make sure to have a table with your books, and get a little sign there, and maybe try to have someone come to help take payment and all that for you. And what I did at a church recently was when I was selling them pre-release, I actually was out at a speaking engagement, but we had the inventory already. So I went and took them out, and went out to the lobby after the service, and someone was taking payment, and I was able to just interact with the people, and I signed everyone's book for them. And that's just a great little, personal touch point that you can give to people, and it's certainly a good idea.
Well, there are things you can do that make that book signing something different than just going back to a 6-foot table and standing there signing books. You can do something where you can create an image. This cost a little bit of money, but you wouldn't break the bank. We're going to have one that says Arrow Striker, where people can get their pictures taken with the book, and because you want to create excitement, and then you want to encourage these people to post. And that people love doing that. We got one from a friend of Jonathan's, or really just an acquaintance from Jonathan's here in the last day or so. And the guy he just went nuts in holding up his book and showing the deal. You'll get people get enthusiastic about your book. And it all starts with you. So any parting comments, Jonathan?
Well, I think the moral of the story is, if you want to get the book out, that you've got to make sure you do all that you can to get the book out. And that's going to really help you get that message out that you feel like you need to articulate. And so we hope that that's helpful for you. Hope you have a great day. We'll look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, be blessed. Hey, Jonathan here, real quick before you go. Everything in your ministry rises and falls on your leadership. So investing in your leadership is essential to staying healthy and growing the ministry. And that's why I want to invite you to join us inside the Leaders.Church membership. This online streaming service for pastors gives you access to more than 300 videos plus training material to level up your leadership and improve your ministry skills. If you'd like to do that, I want to invite you to go to Leaders.Church/boost. Again, that's Leaders.Church/boost. Well, thanks again for joining us on the Church Tips Podcast. We'll look forward to seeing you next time.